Women have the power to transform this world. We can end crime and violence if we all agree to do one thing: share. Let's share our wisdom, share our time, share our talents, share our finances, but most of all, let's share our love. This is the Female Solution.
Grand Rising, and thank you all for joining us for this Wednesday edition of the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, and many of us in Illinois are aware that yesterday was an election day for many of the counties throughout Illinois, and there are candidates who chose to make a difference by throwing their hat in the ring and running for office. Well, today we want to take a look at what it really takes to have the courage to do something about what's happening in this society. What happens when you choose to be a candidate for office? Well, today we're joined by a courageous woman who is a mother, a wife, a cancer survivor, and a fighter who triumphs over adversity. One of the things that it takes to choose to enter the political arena is courage. And our guest today, Pat Gallarneau, is a woman of courage. She has chosen to be a candidate because she believes that people are responsible for the society that they create. And in order to make changes, one must get involved. Politics is not an easy thing. It involves choices, and many of these choices have to do with how you're going to spend the money that taxpayers contribute to the society's running of its institutions. So we're excited, and I see a beautiful face that I'm about to bring to you. Someone who is a powerhouse in her own right, who, again, as a mother, a wife, a citizen who is committed to change, a survivor of cancer who just keeps on running because she is without fear. So I want to bring to you a candidate who made a bold race for the Lake Villa Township race for trustee and can give us some insight about what that decision takes. So let me bring to the stage a wonderful person I had the pleasure of meeting, Miss Pat Gallarneau. Thank you for joining us today on the Female Solution Global Radio TV show.
Hi, good morning, everyone. Happy, what day is this? Wednesday.
Happy rainy Wednesday.
Right. Yes. Thunderstorm, lightning, high winds. It's all good.
Yes. Well, I'm just grateful to have met you. And of course, you had a wonderful gathering of supporters yesterday after what I'm sure was a grueling race. And, one of the things about election night, it does go on late into the night because they've got to count every vote and they've got to make sure they get the absentee votes and the mail-in votes. And it's just a long, long night for many candidates.
Yes.
But of course, you chose to be someone of courage to step in and make a difference. And you ran with a team of people, a slate of people that also wanted to make a difference.
Yes.
And it takes courage. So, first of all, give us a bit of background about yourself. You know,
Sure.
a
Thank
person there in
you.
Lake Villa Township. Give us a bit of insight about who is Patricia Gallarneau.
I would love to, and thank you for this opportunity. I'm very blessed to be able to talk about myself and about my quaint little town of Lake Villa and the slate that I had the opportunity and I can't tell you how thankful I am to have ran with this group. A little bit about myself. I have lived in Lake Villa for, will be 20, oh my goodness, yeah, it'll actually be 22 years, the end of April. When I first moved into Lake County, Illinois, I was a reserve deputy for the sheriff's department, and we used to do like patrolling, and we used to help out the Lake Villa police with special events. And just being in Lake Villa, I just fell in love with this community and the town and what it stood for. And there's so many great towns and villages in Lake County, but Lake Villa was the one town that really pulled my heart. And that was my goal. Like I was like, someday I'm going to live in Lake Villa. And when the opportunity happened, I was just so blessed and so excited. I raised two daughters, one 25, one 21, here in Lake Villa, very successful girls that volunteered in the community, which that's where I got my community service was through them. They were like very involved in school and the Lake Villa pageants. It, gosh, I can't even, recreational sports, just so many things I'm trying to think about. But and then of course I got involved with the PTO and the Booster Club, and then being a dance team mom and volunteering for the dance team. And my youngest daughter was very involved with the fine arts department. I go to an amazing church called Grace Community Church in Lake Villa, where I have such amazing, powerful, God loving women that I have the honor of associating with, and I can call friends. It graces my home. Let's see, I'm involved in the Bible study. I am involved with the women's ministry. I'm actually going on my second ministry trip to Mexico.
Oh,
And the best part is my youngest daughter is going with me. So she gets to experience her first missions trip. Gosh, what else can I tell you about? I was involved, like myself, I was involved in dance. I went to a dance studio in the community. So, I'm just been like all around, just bebopping around, and any opportunity I get to participate or attend, I'm there. I'm your gal.
wow. So you fell in love with this community, and you've been involved in it, and your children have enjoyed the activities. What
Yes.
prompted you to run for political office?
Wow. It's a really fun story. The gal one gal got approached by a gentleman who was putting a slate together for Lake Villa to run. And I was already involved in the community. I was already doing a lot of these things in the community. So I'm like, I'm going to take the next step and try to find something. And when the gentleman, his name is Ted, approached me, said, "Hey, your name's been thrown around a couple of times, and I'd like to meet with you." And I wasn't really sure what this opportunity was about. And so I had an interview with him. And when he, was telling me about the goals and ideas that he had for the slate and for our community, I was like, oh my gosh, what a great opportunity. I'm like, I'm in. So, but the gal who really, I give all my credit to, her name is Cindy Davis. And she said, you listen, you have to talk to Patty. She's your gal. And I know she'd be great at it. So we have a running joke that I'm like, I owe her my liver, her kidney for this opportunity of throwing my name in the hat, and Ted for selecting me and being able to run for this with this team. So it was a blessing. I was just like so honored to have this opportunity that they came to me for this.
Yes. So now, for those people who don't know, what does a trustee do? You ran for trustee.
Correct.
What does a trustee do?
Well, a trustee they wear many hats, but pretty much what we do is we help the township supervisor and the township clerk for is like budgets. We oversee like budgets, community involvement, like like it's so early with money. So, but our goal as a trustee is that we wanted to get more community involvement. So we wanted to make sure that like we had different like teams and organizations that we were able to get more involved in, to bring community involvement, to get them more involved, to make sure that the community was aware of our township meetings, any changes, any developments, any improvements. So the trustee wears many hats. It's not just like one solid thing that we do. And of course, the most important is to support our township supervisor and our clerk. But our goal was to get the message out there, to get the community more involved. Come to our township meetings, you get involved. What are your ideas? We want to hear your ideas. We want to, do things to improve our community. So our children will come back and live in Lake Villa and raise their children. The community is so amazing. It's very quaint, as I mentioned, and the love that we have for each other. We all know each other. We've watched our children, grow up. We've watched, our children's children have babies, at this stage of life for me. And the slate that I was running with younger, families. And that's fun for me because I've already been there, done that. My children, are 21 and 25. So it's just fun to, help improve our community. My kids had such a great life here, but to even make it better, that's what my passion was as running for trustee and to be a trustee, is to improve our community for more opportunities for our children and our seniors. I can't forget our seniors.
Well, that is the best reason to run for office, is to want to improve the community. And as somebody who's seen the beauty of what it means to have a community that is cohesive and children have safe and fun activities and grow up together. I mean, that's the American dream. So definitely it's a noble cause. Now, what were some of the challenges as a candidate? You have to get your name out. You have to meet voters. What were some of the challenges and what did you learn from those challenges in getting out there and campaigning?
Right. Well, one of the challenges is, the first question, why are you doing this? Why would you put yourself out there? I mean, you got a big target on your back because not everything's always positive. That was the first thing. The second thing is, if certain people in the community have never heard of it, specific individuals on your slate, why are you running with these people? Like, what's so special about them? So you get the criticism, and to get the voters and the community on board as to why you're doing this and why you're doing this with a specific slate of individuals. I have made the most incredible friendships with my slate and their families. I've never in my whole adult life have worked so hard with a group of people that wanted this as much as I did. And to see the love and passion and the commitment and the determination and the sacrifices, there was a lot of sacrifices to do this. It interfered with families, jobs, church. You couldn't attend every church event or even church services because you are out there pounding the pavement with your slate. Snow, rain, sleet, cold. We were out there, and residents would have the security cameras, and they would come to the door, and they're like, "Are you out here by yourself? Like, are you guys kidding me? Like, it's snowing out or it's raining." And we're like,
Wow.
yes, this is how much we want this for you, for you. We want to improve our community for you guys. That's why we're doing this. It was nothing.
Wow. Yes. Yes. Well, that's one of the things. Yes. Well, we're going to take a quick break and come back and talk further about that dedication. Of course, we want to greet our global family, and we want to hear more about those who might be considering running for office, what you need to do to prepare. And of course, as Patricia says, you've got to be willing to face rain, snow, sleet, and hail, because this is a job that requires dedication. We'll be right back after this quick break, and we want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be right back as we greet our global family listening from all across the world, and we want you to greet them too. We'll be right back, so stay with us.
We are global transformers, changing the world from the way it is to the way it should be. We are one. Wherever we live on this earth, we are one human family. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to extend a greeting to all the members of our family, whenever and wherever you may be listening around the world. To our family in China, Ni Hao. In India, Namaste. In Japan, Konnichiwa. In Korea, Annyeonghaseyo. In Russia, Здравствуйте. In Germany, Guten Tag. In Poland, Dzień dobry. In France, Bonjour. In Spain, Hola. In Italy, Ciao. In Egypt, Ahlan wa sahlan. In Ghana, Akwaba. In Nigeria, Peleo. In South Africa, Sawubona. In Senegal, Nangadef. In Kenya, Jambo. In Israel, Shalom. In Pakistan, Afghanistan, Palestine, and Saudi Arabia, Assalamu alaikum. Greetings, and may peace be upon you all. Join us live on the on-air radio network called 727-731-5192. We want to talk to you.
Yes, we want to talk to you, and we want to hear from you too, as you consider what it takes to be a candidate for political office. And we're going to bring you right back a wonderful young woman who has made her name known out there in a wonderful community of Lake Villa Township. And here she is, Patricia Gallarneau, who's got a story to tell. So I know it must have been challenging when you realize that this takes dedication. This takes some grit. This takes a fight to the finish. And of course, and I'm grateful to have been introduced to you by my wonderful friend, Chief Dr. Quentin Tamba Taylor DeAlexander, who has known you and your family for quite some time. Yes. And has, of course, been involved in a number of activities that give, yourself, your daughters a chance to really grow and thrive. And we were out there at the campaign party. And as always, you got to sit there and, wait for those returns. But one of the things I did feel that friendliness, that love, that camaraderie. So I know that's the kind of thing you want to continue with your community. Correct. So in that process of telling voters why you're running and how important it is to maintain that beautiful atmosphere of community and support. What was it like that election night when it comes down to the wire and you're campaigning all the way up to the last minute? What were some of the things that you said to the voters standing in line, getting ready to cast their ballot to possibly, make that decision for you?
Right. Our goal was to make every vote count. It's unfortunate that at this level, voters just don't get out there. They'll vote for the big elections, but they don't do the smaller elections, and that's what's very important. We were honored to hear the concerns our community, had, and we made sure we took notes and we talked about their concerns. So we were very serious about this and how we were going to get our community more involved. So they had a say in it and they had their hands involved in this, and that meant a lot to us. But when it comes down to it, it's the voters. Uh, it's the voter turnout, and we pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. Then our friends were like, "Come on, leave us alone. We're gonna get there and vote." Because at the end of the day, if you don't get out and vote, do you really get a say and get to complain about the things that they haven't changed or they want to see change? So that's important, is to really emphasize that the voters count. You got to get to the polls. If you can't, you request a mail-in ballot. It's so important. So that's the one thing I can say about this. And when it came down to the end, we know we fought hard. It was a good run, and we did the best that we could. But at the end of the day, it comes down to votes.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It comes down to votes. It comes down to the turnout. And like you say, in these off elections, sometimes the votes don't come in because people just, they're not as intense as they are in like the major presidential elections and that sort of thing.
Right.
So,
They're unaware of what's going on. When you're walking door to door and talking, to residents, they're like, "I didn't know this was going on. We didn't know this was going on. Like, where is this information? We've never seen any of this." So it was very shocking to know that a lot of the residents had no idea what was going on in their community other than their taxes.
yeah, yes,
They're
yes.
like, "Why do we have all this money sitting in reserve and yet our taxes keep going up?" And that was one of the concerns that we're like, this is why we're running. One of the reasons why we're running. Yes, because we have amazing families in Lake Villa and or I should say in the township of Lake Villa, that, they're struggling, and we don't want to lose any more residents because they can't afford to live here.
So as trustee, what you would have been able to address would be like how some of the tax money is spent. Is that part of what a trustee?
Right, right,
Yes.
yes. So the township supervisor has, the final say, but yeah, we oversee and, we give suggestions, for as what how the money's spent in the budget.
Yes. And I think this is, people really don't realize when you are a wife and mother and managing a household, those are the skills that you need to run a government. Some people say, well, what kind of, I ran my household successfully, so I know how to run an institution. That's the beginning.
Right,
So,
exactly. You know how to balance everything.
yes,
Balance a checkbook, balance your kids,
absolutely.
activity schedule and your work schedule and
Yes,
family's schedule. And yeah, you wear, like I mentioned, you wear a lot of hats.
yes, yes,
And this hat I was willing to take on. That's how important it was to me.
yes. Well, another thing that wives and mothers often do, we're often the anchor of the family, especially when there's any kind of a challenge. And I know you have been recognized even with Dr. Quentin's events, those who have survived challenges. And it's not an easy thing when the wife and the mother and the manager of the household is battling a health challenge.
Mhm.
Would you tell us a bit about that period in your life and what that was like in terms of overcoming that challenge?
Yes. Um, I was working third shift, and my mom was, she was aging. She was unable to get around. She wasn't mobile. I then became her full-time caregiver. So between driving from where I live to back home where I grew up in Woodridge, Illinois, I would get my kids off to school, and then I would run to Woodridge, which was about like an hour and 20 minutes away, and then come back before my kids got off the bus, take care of them, try to get a nap in before I had to go to work a third shift. And so I was so in taking care of my mom and taking care of my daughters that I wasn't taking care of myself. And the one year that I did not get a pap smear because my doctor had changed over to a different um, organization or practice, my insurance no longer covered her at this other practice, so I didn't go. During that one year that I did not get my pap smear, I ended up growing a tumor. And the whole time I thought, oh, I'm stressed out. I must be going through menopause. This is just my life now, aging. I would literally like practically starve myself. I was working out any opportunity I had during the little time balancing life. I spent hundreds of dollars on weight loss, and I just couldn't figure out why my abdomen kept growing and growing and growing. So, long story short, ended up being ovarian cancer. By the time I got off the OR table, I had lost 30 pounds because I had a 25-pound tumor. And so I had battled that for a year, not knowing that I had ovarian cancer. Right before my surgery, I thought, good possibility I had rectal or colon cancer because my two uncles had it and my father. So all three of them had died of colon and rectal cancer. And to my surprise, they said, no, you had ovarian cancer. And my oncologist was literally holding my tumor. He told me he was holding my tumor in the OR, and he said it was like delivering triplets. So, um, with God's grace, it was contained, and I did not have to go through chemo. I did not have to go through radiation. I did have to go every 3 months to my oncologist for blood work, for checkups, for 5 years, every 3 months. And then after my fifth year, so now I can say that I'm a cancer survivor. It will
Wow.
be, let's see, 9 years this August.
Wow.
9 years, yes. And then after that, the following year, because I was taking care of my mother, lifting, and the job I was doing, um, it was very, very stressful and hard on my abdomen. And because I didn't have a core muscles, I ended up getting 9 hernias. So I had 9 hernias
Oh my.
fixed. I had my whole entire abdominal is mesh. And then come to find out there was a recall on the mesh because my mesh didn't
I,
work.
I
And now I
remember that.
have more hernias. I should say I have new hernias. But I'm just going to live with these. I don't want to go through that surgery because I do not want to be down that long. I'm one of those that as soon as my eyes wake up, I hit the ground running. Yeah. So I've been through some challenges. And then in 2020, I end up getting skin cancer.
Oh my.
So
Oh,
then I had to go through all that. So it's been a long road of health issues between ovarian cancer, my hernias, and skin cancer. But I am 100% better. Yeah, cancer free,
wow.
living my life to the fullest. I see things differently. I don't take life for granted. I wake up every day happy. And sometimes people are like, well, she must be hiding something, or, someone can't be that happy all the time and always smiling. Listen, happiness is a choice.
Yes.
It's a decision. So when I wake up every day, It's a choice to be happy, and I choose joy.
That is very powerful message. And this, of course, the reason why you've been an honoree.
Yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
yes, tell us about that. Of course, you've been recognized as one of those survivors that are honored at the We Dream in Color celebrations that are held by Dr. Chief Quentin Tamba Taylor de Alexander at the DuSable Museum. The survivors of cancer and those who have fought back and won the battle. So you've been honored in that uh, arena for your perseverance. And
Yes. Mhm.
yes, and very well deserved. This is not an easy thing. And of course, you're here at the gathering of those supporters that are still hoping that you continue your quest to make your community better. And
Yes.
I think that anybody who is determined as you are should remain a public servant or
Oh,
in the arena of public service, continuing to run for office. And I think this is just the beginning when it comes to all the great things that you're going to do. And I was very impressed with
mm.
those who stayed there till the end. Uh,
Yes.
and were and then basically that's what it takes is you've got to be willing to wait it out and for the most part to be there with the candidate and see what the end is going to bring and there your crew is there watching those returns and
Yeah.
um, that's the great thing about it is that it's an excitement
Hmm.
that is there on election day, but also once people have gotten a taste of it, they realize, okay, this is something achievable. And maybe next time what we just got to do is, get some more of the people, like you mentioned, that have no clue of what's going on,
Hmm.
get them aware so they can choose to get involved because they just simply didn't know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's our goal is
Yeah,
to get the community more aware of what's going on and to get them involved, more involved in what's going on. Yeah.
absolutely. Well, we're
Yeah.
going to take another quick break. And
Okay.
when we come back, you have an opportunity to speak to the voters of Illinois and tell them about what it takes really in building a safe and enjoyable community and what you've experienced there in the Lake Villa Township in terms of the kind of relationship building that has made that community a success and how you'd like to spread that kind of success as a dedicated citizen that isn't done with the political arena, I'm sure. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. And you're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our guest, Patricia Gallarneau, who was a candidate in the race for trustee in Lake Villa Township. And this was election day yesterday, for those who didn't know. And so we've got many who have chosen to become a part of the political process. And for those who don't know how, we're going to tell you how you go about that. So we'll be right back after this quick break. We want you to stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be right back. So stay with us. Hi, I'm Naima Latif. And if you're watching this, that means you're one of the 4.6 billion people from around the world who are using an electronic device to talk to people. In these times, people are using the internet to talk to everybody. Friends, neighbors, family members, co-workers. People are on their cell phones and computers all day long. Now, if you're in business, that is great news. That means you can sell your products and services all day long and never have to leave your home. All you need is a media connection, somebody to connect you to an audience.
And that's why I'm talking to you today. We produce programs, and our audience members are people who shop. They buy clothes, food, beauty supplies, cleaning supplies, home repair, transportation services, child care services. Whatever you're selling, they need to buy it. We're your media connection. Just follow this link, and tomorrow you can sit back and relax at home while your business is making you money.
And we are back. You're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our guest today, Patricia Gallarneau, and we've been hearing about her bold race for Lake Villa Township Trustee. So, for those who might want to enter politics, what are the first things that you need to do? What kind of papers do you need to file? What kind of, do you have to get signatures on a petition? What is that process like? Can you walk us through that?
Sure. Well, we were very, very fortunate to have this amazing gentleman who was a leader and a volunteer to help guide us through this process. So the first thing is that we filed papers, and what I mean by that is we received like a ballot, and we had to get X amount of signatures per person to have the opportunity to run. As a slate, we ran together, and you can ask anyone in the community, but they have to be, a resident of Lake Villa or incorporated or any community or like town that pays Lake Villa taxes. So I have to be very careful how I do this, because Lake Villa, the way that the township is, kind of cut out, a lot of residents didn't even know. They're like, but I live in Round Lake Beach, and how can I vote for you if you're in Lake Villa? And to explain to them, well, you pay Lake Villa Township taxes. So it was a learning curve for me. I didn't even know. So I was actually learning alongside a lot of these
Yes.
residents as
That's
to how
good.
to do that. But yeah, again, just getting signatures, and then turning the signatures in. The township clerk, signs off on the signature ballot, for the opportunity for us to be on the actual ballot to run against our opponents.
Okay. And how many? And so, does each office have to get a certain number of signatures?
Yes, I honestly, it's been a while since we did this,
Yes.
but we wanted to ensure our ballot, so we went over the
Yes.
amount that was expected in case they went and said, oh no, this person or that person's not. So we
Yeah.
wanted to make sure we went over
Well,
the
that
amount that was requested, in case they've rebutted any signatures.
yes.
But that wasn't, hard to do, because we had a lot of supporters and people who wanted change in our community. One individual has been in office for almost 24 years, and we wanted, change. A lot of people wanted change. No one should control our taxes for over 2 decades.
Right. That's a long time. And so
Yeah.
people were
Yes.
ready for a fresh new face. Now,
Absolutely.
did you have to do any kind of political debates, or did you all have any like face-to-face meetings with the candidates where the people saw both of you?
No, it was nothing like that. A lot of the things that we did was really in person, just with the residents or businesses, community volunteers. It was all, either social media or in person, but yeah, nothing face to face with our opponents.
Yes. Well, I think that's one of the things that people really look forward to, is that face-to-face meeting with candidates and being accessible, being open, friendly, talking to people, because you need more than just a poster on a wall. You need a person. You need to see and feel that person's vibes. And of course, here your team is diligently waiting till the end to get those election results, knowing that you were out there campaigning until the end, which
Mm-hmm.
what a dedicated candidate does. Now, a lot of
Yes.
times, what we learn in that process, as you've said, is, what does this office actually do? Were you surprised at the, I guess, amount of responsibility that a citizen has once they take public office? The kind of, I guess you'd say, control. Like you mentioned, you got somebody that's been in there for 2 decades deciding how your taxes are going to be spent. Were you surprised
Right.
at the amount
Yeah.
of control that the politicians have over our lives in those
Right.
positions?
Yeah, exactly. Our the main concern that we had was that we wanted to control spending, excuse me, control spending and unite the community. We wanted to protect our seniors and empower our residents. We wanted to create lifelong memories for the next generation. And like I mentioned in the earlier segment, is we want our children to come back and raise their families here in Lake Villa and have those memories and opportunities for their children. We wanted to promote citizen-run committees to ensure Lake Villa Township maintains, the independent feeling of our community, not feeling like one individual has so much control over everything. So if people feel important and feel worthy to get involved, it's a good feeling. I know when I
Mhm.
volunteer in my community, it's the best feeling. I love it.
Yes.
It just re-energizes you. You get to meet people. You get to reunite with people in your community, and it's a great way to catch up and hear about, oh, how's your career, how's your children, how's your grandchildren, what new hobbies have you you know started. But as a group, the whole idea was to bring fresh ideas and to prove our commitment to serving our community, not ourselves.
Mm, yes. Yeah, that is very admirable.
Thank you.
Now, you, of course, because you've raised children, you've had an impact on the lives of children. What are some of the concerns as you look forward in the building of the community? What would you like to see the children experience when they grow up, get educated and come back? What would you like them to experience uh, in Lake Villa that would keep it the kind of community that you can raise children in and is comfortable for families and good memories and all of that?
Oh, that's a really good question. And oh gosh, that could be a segment in itself. So I'll give you the meat and potatoes. The first thing is safety. I think it's so
Oh,
important about safety of our community. We have an amazing law enforcement, police department. Oh my goodness, they patrol our community. I love, no matter what time of day, I have a police officer cruising through our subdivision, always happy, always waving. They take the time to talk to our children, especially like holidays, Halloween. They'll drive through, they'll even have like a little bucket of candy and they'll talk to the kids and the families. And some of them are so gracious, they'll literally get out of the car and take photos. And some of them don't like to get their pictures taken, but that is the number one concern, is safety. I know when my kids are outside playing or they're at someone else's home in their subdivision, that there's an officer cruising through the subdivision keeping an eye on all our kids. So that's the number one thing that's really important. We have an amazing fire department. Our village, not our township, but our village, they try to host different events to get the community together. Lake Villa is known for their pageantry. We have a Little Miss, Junior Miss, and a Miss Lake Villa, which is amazing opportunity for young girls to have the build their skills in public speaking and poise and greeting people and getting volunteer hours in. And when you had mentioned like opportunities for the young kids, that is one thing that I would get messages from people in the community, or I would run into somebody and say, hey, I know your daughters both have gotten scholarships for college. How did they get all these scholarships when there's absolutely no volunteer opportunities in our community? And I get that a lot. So that was one of my things that I wanted to promote and get the younger generation outside of pageantry. People are like, well, my kids, they don't want to do a pageant, or I have a son, he doesn't want to do sports. How do I get them involved in community service? So I had all these wonderful, bright ideas.
Well, this is why you need to run again. This is why, we know this isn't the end.
Exactly. Right.
This is a practice for the next time, because
right. Yeah. And I'm so sorry, my voice is breaking.
I understand.
All the talking we've done. I actually had laryngitis last week, so I was getting really nervous.
Wow.
I was going to have a voice to the end. So that's why I keep drinking tea. I'm so drinking tea.
The food, that's good. I know you've had to do a lot of talking to a lot of people over these last months.
So I'm sorry, I'm still foggy and my voice.
You're doing great. I mean, this was definitely a battle to the finish, and your supporters were wonderful and staying there with you and coming out to celebrate your run. And it's a celebration, whether it ends in an election or just launching for the next run, but they were there, and that's the important thing, to know that you've got a core of people that want to see you in that position and believe in what you stand for and believe in the vision that you have for the community. So that's why those who run for office run, because they know that people trust their integrity. And
that was with my team, with my slate. I have never met such an amazing group of individuals. We come from all walks of life. We live in different parts of Lake Villa Township. Our backgrounds are so diverse, but the things that we had in common for the love of our community, the improvement, we're all Christian based. And that's really important when you have a team that you see eye to eye. You have the same integrity, the same character, the same goals, the same family values. We all had the same ideas. This was a dream team. I cannot explain it to you. Like, we were just in awe over each other, building each other up. When one person felt down, the whole team was lifting you up. It was joy every single day running with this slate. And at one point, I get emotional. I didn't want it to end because I love these people so much. And I've spent so much time with them. And I know their hearts. And I am so, so incredibly proud of my slate. And I'm so incredibly proud of their families who've supported them. And I'm so blessed that my family has, supported me as well, because we could not have done this without our families and our friends' support, because we did take a lot of time away from our family and responsibilities. And I just love them and I wish them the best. But the good news is we may not have, won as a slate, but the friendships that was built, solid. We are solid. And the love that we have for each other, I can't even express this team that Ted has put together for us. It's forever. It is forever.
That is wonderful. Well, I'm sure that they enjoyed this run, and we know this is not the end. And of course, there is Chief Dr. Quentin there, congratulating you all on an excellent run.
Oh, thank you.
Because, this is not an easy thing. It's not an easy thing to put oneself through this kind of physical, grueling hardship.
Right.
But
Oh, it was physical when I used to hear the phrase, oh, I did this with blood, sweat, and tears. And I can say I know now because all the walking I did in my winter boots gave me a blister, which made my foot bleed. I sweated because I had so many clothes on, like my snowmobile gear, walking house to house, and tears because sometimes it was emotional because
oh,
I loved them so much. I would get emotional. So blood, sweat, and tears is definitely a true thing.
yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's from the heart. We got to
Yeah.
take one last quick break and then
Okay.
we'll come right back. And you've got amazing children who are doing wonderful things. Your daughter is about to receive a doctorate. Yes, so we're going to talk about that when we come back. And you're listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our wonderful guest, Patricia Gallarneau, who is a powerhouse of a resident in the Lake Villa Township community, and she ran for trustee, and we trust that she'll run again. And we will be right back after this quick break, so stick and stay. Don't stray away. We'll be back in just one moment, so stay with us.
Hi, I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms.
And in case you didn't notice the resemblance, we're also three sisters.
We're going to be coming to you every week, sharing our successes and our mistakes as we navigate our lives as moms, wives, sisters, daughters, and of course, Black women in today's world.
We'll talk about it all: race, politics, religion, economics, culture, and we'll take a look at everything from whether or not to use corporal punishment to how do you teach your children about sex.
Look for our upcoming book, Growing Up Charles. It's a personal story about our lives growing up in Maple Park on Chicago's South Side. I'm Barbara.
I'm Cheryl.
And I'm Naima. We're three Black moms. Follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Three Black Moms.
Yes, we are back, and you are listening to and watching a Female Solution Global Radio TV show. I'm Naima Latif, along with our wonderful guest who has run an amazing race for trustee in the Lake Villa community. And one of the things that many of us learned who have no knowledge of the other parts of the state of Illinois is that each of these townships, they are independently run. And so it takes independent citizens who are making the decisions about the taxes, about how to spend them for the community services, the events that happen there. And so when you are part of that structure, you learn how the government runs. And that means you get involved. So we want to encourage everyone to get involved in their local community in however way they can, so that they can appreciate the work of public servants who do that work. So now with Patricia, of course, you have had an opportunity to show your children an example of what it means to serve. And your daughter has done some amazing things. And she's going to be presented a doctorate degree
Yes.
at the upcoming We Dream in Color Humanitarian and Unity Celebration, July 19th at the DuSable Museum. What an honor for her. So tell us about that. Tell us about her and some of the things that she has done as an amazing young woman.
Oh, thank you. The first amazing thing I'm going to share first is that Alyssa got rebaptized 3 weeks ago at her church down in Bloomington, Indiana, where she attends Indiana University. So that's a big life event for her, and I'm just so incredibly proud of her that she's grown closer and stronger in her faith. So that's number one. Number two is that this honor that she will be receiving, this honor from Chief Dr. Quentin Alexander. When it was presented to her, we were just speechless. We didn't know, what to think. So she filled out her application, did everything that she needed to do, and when she was accepted, it was an honor and a blessing for her because she does work so hard. Alyssa has always been a go-getter. She when she was little, as soon as her eyes opened in the morning and her feet hit the floor, we heard her like, Alyssa's up. She's ready for the day. There was no stopping her. She was always self-disciplined. You never had to ask her, Alyssa, did you do your homework? Alyssa, did you make your bed? Alyssa, and the activities, if it was cheer, dance, her Little Miss, Junior Miss Lake Villa events, she was always the first one there, and she was always the last one to leave. So she always had that dedication, that determination, and that passion for everything that was in front of her. She was just self-disciplined. I wish I had that self-discipline.
That is great. Well, there, of course.
I'm like, I think they gave us the wrong kid at the hospital.
Well, that's always wonderful when you see the fruits of your labor in a real sense. But and of course, here we see you with Chief Dr. Quentin Tamba Taylor de Alexander, who is doing the Redream in Color Humanitarian and Unity Celebration to honor those who are receiving doctorate degrees. And there's so many things we want to encourage people to do when it comes to giving their children opportunities so that they can blossom. And it's wonderful when they have that spiritual connection, because that becomes the foundation with which they do everything in life. So congratulations to you as a mother who
thank you.
Set such a wonderful example. And it's not an easy thing, especially you've been a caregiver. And so when you're the person that is taking care of everyone and being that foundation of support, it really takes a lot, especially when you've overcome your own challenge as a result of giving all of yourself and manage to somehow still make it happen. So we appreciate all that you do, and we appreciate all you're going to do. And we're looking forward to you becoming an officer at some point. And of course, these are some of the many people that came out to celebrate you, and we look forward to you continuing to make an impact. Thank you so much for being with us today, and we look forward to hearing your name again and seeing you on that ballot again in the future as you continue to make a bold race in the Lake Villa Township as trustee or whichever other office you choose. We support you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. This was such an honor. I appreciate you.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you. And thank you all for listening to and watching the Female Solution Global Radio TV show. Of course, join us tomorrow from Mama Africa's house. We'll be right back here again, 7 a.m. Central. And until that time, continue to shine your light.
We've come to the end of our show today. If you missed any broadcasts, go to our website for the audio and video archives at www.thefemalesolution.com. On behalf of our team of radio hosts, I'd like to thank all of you who participated in today's discussions. And to our global family joining us from all around the world, we say thank you. To our family in China, xie xie. India, dhanyavad. Japan, arigato. Korea, kamsamnida. Russia, spasiba. Germany, danke. Poland, dziękuję. France, merci. Spain, gracias. Italy, grazie. Egypt, shukran. Ghana, madasi. Nigeria, eshe. South Africa, ngiyabonga. Senegal, jareh. Kenya, asante. Israel, toda. Pakistan, shukriya. Afghanistan, tashakur. Saudi Arabia and Palestine, shukran. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you, and may peace be upon you and the mercy of God and God's blessings.